Meteorologist Mr. G here with Elite Weather. I am your forecaster today, as I'm your forecaster every day on this channel. And let's talk about your hot weather forecast for the next 3 days here as we take a look at the rest of your day here on Tuesday, as well as Wednesday and Thursday. A lot of heat out there, as well as some severe weather, some storms to deal with, and some flooding issues to talk about. Let's jump into that forecast as we take a look at this afternoon's watches and hazards out there. And we do have a very large heat advisory over the nation's midsection. We're talking here from Texas through the central into the northern plains, as well as along portions of the Mississippi Valley and into the Midwest on over into the Ohio Valley and western West Virginia, where we are seeing very hot temperatures and high humidities. A lot of temperatures through the 90s in here, very high humidities, and some temperatures in the triple digits down here through portions of Oklahoma and into Texas, where we're seeing those temperatures in the 100 to 105 range. But we're also talking about dew points in the 60s, 70s, and some 80s out there. So that's making those heat indexes feel like it's 110 in some locations, especially down here through the central and southern plains. So some very uncomfortable weather conditions right here. And we have some excessive heat advisories in place through portions of the Twin Cities. So through the metropolitan areas through central and southern Minnesota, we're seeing an excessive heat advisory in place there, where that humidity is making it feel like it's 110 degrees through the Twin Cities areas this afternoon. And we're also looking at our red flag advisory here through portions of western Nebraska. We also have our red flag here through much of northern Montana today, as we're seeing that hot and dry weather plus windy conditions, and that hot and dry weather is also present through portions of the Pacific Northwest. So we have the valleys here on the leeward side of the Cascade Mountain Range through Washington and down here in southern Oregon, where we're seeing our red flag advisory in place as well, and a small flash flood advisory through portions of Maricopa County in central Arizona. That's the Phoenix metro area, where we might be seeing some monsoon storms that could produce a little bit of flooding down in central Arizona as well. So for the most part, a lot of these advisories are heat related. We also have another heat advisory into portions of the New England states here, from Boston down through the New York City area into New Jersey. We're seeing those temperatures in the 90s and a little bit of humidity as well. So the National Weather Service felt it was prudent to issue a heat advisory for that region as well. But all is quiet across the southeast and through the state of Florida and along the Gulf Coast. I'm amazed that we don't have any flood advisories in this region, and I will show you why I'm surprised that there's not flooding issues along the Gulf Coast down there. As we take a look at our radar, we're seeing all of this rain, and it's making me wonder if something's wrong with my head. Am I tripping? Because there's a lot of rainfall on the Gulf Coast, and there are no advisories for heavy rain, no severe weather watches. There's nothing on the nothing in the weather models that indicates a tropical storm or tropical system in this region. But the high pressure off the coast right here is producing this clockwise flow and is pushing in moisture off the Gulf of Mexico, and it's interacting with the landmass here. And there is a front nearby just to the north, and it's just enough to spark all of these showers and thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast. So we're seeing all of that rainfall. I would anticipate some flooding headlines later today, but right now there's nothing in the future or any the latest forecast updates. There's nothing there, and we're seeing our monsoons down here across southern Arizona and to portions of New Mexico, and we're seeing quite a bit of rainfall through the northern plains here. So we got North and South Dakota, as well as portions of southeastern Montana and central Wyoming here, where we're seeing some afternoon showers and some embedded thunderstorms, but it's not heavy enough rainfall that we're seeing flash flooding issues right now, but some much needed rain for for that part of the nation. And those showers and storms here along the Canadian border and Lake Superior through portions of northern Wisconsin, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and northeastern Minnesota. So Duluth this afternoon is seeing that rainfall and the potential for some severe weather, as there is a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that is embedded in this activity. So that is a look at this afternoon's radar, and as we zoom in on that bizarre moisture along the Gulf Coast down there, we're seeing all of this. Look at all of this rainfall. We got a few minor flood advisories in place. We're seeing this heavy rain right here along the Gulf Coast. But again, there's nothing issued by the National Weather Service for flood potential or anything like that. But we are getting a healthy amount of rain across the Florida Panhandle, the coastal sections of Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and especially New Orleans is seeing that rainfall. We're seeing some thunderstorms here through parts of the Ozarks, through Arkansas, Little Rock. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in place there, and a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings through portions of central Missouri here. We're seeing severe thunderstorm and a flood advisory as well. So there is quite a bit of action going on across the southeast this afternoon, but we're just not seeing it in the overall advisories by the National Weather Service. In their infinite wisdom, feel that it's not necessary. If I was in charge down here, I would definitely have the flood advisory in place or severe thunderstorm potential in this region as well. But oh well, it is what it is. But me, I would take err on the side of caution here and put a flood advisory, because they're seeing a lot of rainfall down along the Gulf Coast today. Here we are as we take a look at what we're seeing as far as severe weather is concerned. We have that line of severe thunderstorms across the upper Mississippi Valley and into Lake Superior this afternoon through northern Wisconsin, Michigan, northeastern Minnesota. Yet again, we're seeing that line of those severe thunderstorms moving off to the northeast there, and we have our area of isolated severe thunderstorms through portions of Arkansas. Actually, we have that severe thunderstorm that's right in here, so it's outside of the marginal risk area that the National Weather Service have. That area where we're seeing those isolated severe thunderstorms are right here, so they are just to the west. But this region here, the National Weather Service has that marginal risk for severe thunderstorms posted for this afternoon. And in the northeast, way up there in Maine, they could see an isolated severe thunderstorm as well this afternoon. And as far as our 3-day weather forecast, this for the rest of today, we have our severe weather potential here, where we have our slight risk for severe weather, and that primary threat is going to be that heavy rain and some damaging winds. Very small hail, and the tornadoes are not a threat this afternoon with that activity. And we have our heavy rain through portions of the lower Ohio Valley and into the Kentucky area as well, where we're going to be seeing that. And I got a fan that's blowing dust in my eye, and it's making my eyes water. So a little blooper for this afternoon. Got to dry my watery eyes. So there we are with that flash flood advisory in place for that region. And again, our red flag here across the portions of the state of Montana, as we're seeing relatively dry weather conditions up above this rainfall area here. So we got some dry air and some winds in this region, but we do have a few showers and thunderstorms across the front range of the Rockies and down through the four corners of Arizona and New Mexico, where we're seeing those monsoon thunderstorms today. And dry weather across the Pacific Northwest as this cold front's moving in and it's helping to cool things off out there, so you're not seeing those temperatures in the triple digits for today as we saw over the last couple of days. So as we take a look at tomorrow's forecast, that red flag advisory will continue across the state of Montana, and our monsoons will also remain through sections of the Four Corners, Arizona, New Mexico, as well as portions of the interior of California, southern Nevada, as well as southern Utah and central Colorado. And even to Wyoming, we could see some thunderstorms along the front range of the Rockies as that monsoon moisture is in place. and another round of some severe weather through portions of the Midwest and into the eastern Great Lakes as well. So Michigan, we could see some heavy rain and some severe thunderstorms that's going to produce some gusty winds and possibly some very small hail, maybe pea-sized hail or marble-sized hail is going to be possible with this area of severe weather. And we'll see that heavy rainfall down through northwestern Indiana and into Illinois and portions of eastern Missouri, where we do not need to see any more rainfall because they've had over 13 inches of rain over the course of the last week in this region. So they don't need any more rainfall along the mid-Mississippi Valley area. So they really need a break from all that rain. But we are going to be seeing those showers continue along the Gulf Coast from our ghost storm down here that's producing a lot of rainfall. That rainfall will continue tomorrow along the Gulf Coast. I'm waiting to see if anybody besides me acknowledge that something is going on down along the Gulf Coast there. So as we take a look at your Thursday forecast, now we lose the severe weather chances for Thursday, but we don't lose the rainfall. And we will continue to see rainfall into portions of the inland sections of the mid-Atlantic states. So we're talking inland New York State, western Pennsylvania, Ohio, portions of Kentucky, Indiana, southeastern Illinois. We're going to be seeing that potential for some heavy rain and flash flooding in that region from that storm system that's dropping to the southeast there. And it's going to really kick off a lot of storms across that region. And we're going to see nice weather across the upper Mississippi Valley through Wisconsin, the upper UP of Michigan, northern Minnesota as well. We're going to be seeing nice dry weather. And that stupid fan is really blowing a lot of dust in my face. And we have dry weather across the Pacific Northwest, a little bit cooler conditions. But our monsoons kind of take an upswing as our Four Corners high gets into a better position to pull in that Gulf moisture and that moisture off of the tropics of California there. And we're going to be seeing the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico. And that moisture will combine to increase the monsoon flow across the Four Corners, so we could see the potential for flash flooding increase for your Thursday. It's going to remain hot across the state of Texas, and that heat is going to rise through the central plains and into the northern plains, where we could see those temperatures start to inch back into the 90s or even the triple digits there through portions of the Dakotas for your Thursday. Now here's your 3-day temperature outlook. And as we look at this afternoon's temperatures, we are seeing that hot weather through the central and northern plains and down through the state of Texas. So we're seeing those temperatures in the 100 to 105 degree range, even a 107 here in western South Dakota there near the Badlands of South Dakota. We're seeing very hot weather. Let me turn off this fan because it's not really helping my situation and it's making my eyes water. And see, we're seeing it a lot cooler across the Pacific Northwest today as those temperatures are no longer in the triple digits and they have fallen into the 90s. So improving conditions across the Pacific Northwest, and we're seeing our heat across the Four Corners. If you're not dealing with a monsoon storm, it's going to be hot otherwise. But in the meantime, you're going to be sitting in pretty in those low 100s down there. But we're seeing those 90s down near Tucson as they're going to have a bit more cloud cover, and it's going to remain hot across the state of Texas. Seasonal weather conditions across the Northeast and the Great Lakes and along the Southeast as we're seeing those temperatures in the 90s across the Southeast coast and through the state of Florida. We're seeing temperatures in the 90s as well. Oh, here's a napkin that I can wipe my eyes because it's driving me nuts. And my sweaty forehead because all these lights and it's suddenly hot in here. All right, so that is looking at the forecast temperatures for today. So as we take a look at and here we are, we're dealing with the heat even here in Minnesota. Let me turn my fan back on. Let me turn it on low. All right. There, it's on low. All right, so triple digit heat across the state of Texas and Oklahoma once again. That frontal boundary that's to the north drops down a little bit, so it's going to cool things off across the northern plains and the upper Midwest, and we're going to see temperatures in the 80s to lower 90s across the southeast. And we'll also see seasonal temperatures, actually a little bit cooler temperatures across the southwest because of the increase in the monsoon moisture and cloud cover. So temperatures are actually a little bit cooler here than typical for this time of the year, and nice weather conditions again across the Pacific Northwest as it will continue to improve as far as the temperatures are concerned in that region. And as we take a look at your Thursday, again, we're seeing those temperatures in the 90s across the interior of the Pacific Northwest, and those temperatures in the low 100s across the low deserts of Southern California and southwestern Arizona. So Phoenix to the west into California, we're seeing those temperatures in the low 100s, and we're seeing those 90s from Tucson east into New Mexico. So a little bit cooler across the four corners, and increasing the heat now through the central plains as that warm front is starting to move to the east now and lift up. So we're going to see things warm up through the central and northern plains as we start to see those upper 90s come back into play. But those 100s will continue for another day. What has been like 31 days across the state of Texas that has been in the triple digits. So again, that hot weather will continue, and we're going to see seasonal weather across the southeast, a little bit warmer across the northeast as we see those temperatures in the upper 90s. So we're going to see temperatures approach 100 in the northeast. So heat advisories will probably be posted for your Thursday through portions of the northeast all the way down to the state of Florida, where we're going to be seeing those seasonal temperatures in the lower 90s. All right, so let's talk about our severe weather. Now, our severe weather, this is this afternoon, severe weather. This is what we're currently seeing through portions of the upper Midwest toward the Great Lakes region of Lake Superior here through Wisconsin and Minnesota. We're seeing this line of thunderstorms near the Duluth area through Superior, Wisconsin, and north of Eau Claire. We're seeing this line of thunderstorms. There are some embedded severe storms in that area, and we have our area where we're going to be seeing some isolated severe. We got an area of isolated severe storms right about here, but that's on the outside of our watch area, so they might need to expand that a bit. And we have the potential for some isolated severe storms in this region, but nothing is happening right now. And we have all of this rainfall again that seemed to go unnoticed by everybody else around the Gulf Coast, but we have all of that rainfall and some isolated potential for some severe storms through portions of the Northeast. But there's nothing currently warned right now at this time. So for tomorrow, we have severe weather that's going to be moving through portions of Chicago, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Aurora, Illinois, Naperville, Illinois, as well as Joliet, Illinois. So if you're in the portions of the northern Midwest here into the Great Lakes, you can see that potential for some severe weather, and that's going to be some heavy rain predominantly and some gusty winds. Maybe some small hail. Tornadoes are not going to be an issue for this event as well. And we have our marginal risk. This is an isolated shot at some severe weather. So Phoenix, Arizona. So we have this little area right here across the southern deserts of Arizona. So Phoenix, Detroit, Milwaukee, Tucson, Kansas City, you guys are going to be in the outlook area for our marginal risk. So that's only an isolated severe thunderstorm. So that's going to be a severe storm that can produce some heavy rain, a 58-mile-an-hour wind gust, and some pea-sized hail. So that's what you have to look forward to for that potential. And that is a big what if as far as those are concerned. And for your Thursday, no severe weather potential at this time, so we won't talk too much about that. But I will update this forecast every day. But as of right now, nothing is expected for severe weather for your Thursday. So that is a little bit of good news. Our tropical outlook, all we really have is what's left of Tropical Storm Frank off the coast of California there, and it may or may not enhance the potential for some precipitation along the west coast through northern California and to portions of the Pacific Northwest down into Oregon. I think it could spread some clouds and maybe a few showers and a thunderstorm in that area as that storm unwinds and becomes extra tropical. So not a whole lot going on in the Atlantic side. I'm very curious about the area along the Gulf Coast and what's possible, but the Hurricane Center don't have anything posted for it. Have they sent any reconnaissance aircraft into it? I don't think so. There's no updates, no advisories for it. It's just they're producing all that rainfall along the Gulf Coast. But I might be right about this, so I'm going to keep watching it over the next couple of days because that rainfall is going to continue into tomorrow as well. It's not going to move much. It might move a little bit to the east, but there is something right there along the Gulf Coast. So that is at this blooper filled 3-day weather forecast. This is really hot in here, and the fan is probably dusty. It's blowing dust in my eyes, making my eyes water profusely. So profusely, I can't even talk. It's so uncomfortable, and I'm sweating. Whew. All right, so I'm done with this travesty. Thanks for watching, you guys. I will see you tomorrow with an update. Hopefully with a clean fan that's not blowing dust in my eyes. Have a good afternoon and evening, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.